these are the reasons, these are the reasons, these are the reasons, the reasons. These are the reasons, these are the reasons, these are the reasons, the reasons.
Finally, we have monitor pose. Hi. I don't know what's going to happen now, so have you been to any one of these before? No. Someone's going to ask us questions, I guess, right? Well, we can ask you questions. Are you feeling good? Yeah. One question, so many answers.
Why don't you tell us about the new album and the idea behind it?
The new album? How many hours do we have? Have you heard it?
Yes.
Alright, do you like it? Yes. That's the most interesting part of it. So the best answer is right there. It's an album lyrically about when I was in the hospital 3 years ago. When actually 3 years ago I was not on a boat like this. Very specifically. Did anyone go to that cruise, by the way? Yeah! Yeah, you guys should all be raising your hands at this point. But the funny thing is, you have to have a working visa and stuff like that when going to the States. And like 1 week prior to us coming here, the American Embassy actually sent my passport, including the visa, to the wrong address, which was actually to Leo's ex-girlfriend. She didn't receive it, by the way. No one did, and it was gone for like more than a week. So when we had 2 days left until taking off, we were actually looking at what would be the consequences about, canceling this tour. Or maybe you guys could go on the cruise, I could stay at home. That's only fair, right? So that was a bit odd. Like 2 days, 1 day before taking off, we were gonna have lunch in a restaurant during rehearsals, and they called me from the post office and they said that, you know what? I'm standing here holding your passport. And we had this sort of like a movie scene moment, because Gustav was beside me, he understood, he could see from my face. I was like, really? Really? And he understood. So he just started like jumping at first, and then hugging me while I was trying to hang up the phone, and kissing me, I think, right, in the restaurant. And lots of people were like smiling. I just waited for someone to rise up from their chairs going like. It didn't happen, it was so close. That's a phone. Yeah, I don't know, it's, the album is seeing us going back to some higher roots, and if anyone says, welcome back, they're back, Pain of Salvation are back, I'm gonna kill you, okay? We were never gone. We've only made good albums. If you don't get that, then you just listen to them. But it is a return to harder material, and a harder sound, especially. So I've noticed that both the old fans and the new fans, the medium fans, the medium rare fans, all of them seem to be digging this album, which is good. We're sort of like, making people come together, just see what happens.
Like come together.
What? Something with Perfect Element. Part 3. I'm glad you asked, 'cause a lot of people are still asking me when there's going to be a Perfect Element Part 2. I'm like, well, just wait until 2007, and you're going to have your quota filled. I don't know. It's got to be returned to at some point. It doesn't feel urgent for me, at least right now, but at some point, yeah. It's just so weird, like, you watch movies and stuff, and there's going to be like a sequel, and as a viewer, it always annoys me a lot. Just having to wait. Like the new Star Wars is coming out, you're like, just make the next one now for tomorrow. Come on. But like when you do it, when you write it, it's not that urgent. You know, I can have it in my head for a long time while somebody does. But you know, at some point. That was it? That was easy, I think. So, dinner's on me. Oh, I think you were rising up there very like visually, so I'm gonna. Yeah.
No, I wanted to know whether you do any acoustic stuff, maybe
We would love to, but it's all about the logistics, really. Bringing things over is difficult, and we just talked about that yesterday when we were in Mexico. Well, every time we go on tour to the States, we always come to the conclusion that we should have brought an empty bag. Just one empty bag to fill with stuff that we want, and, you know, for getting on. Because basically we just like pushed everything down so hard. I have a few protein bars that I will eat during the tour, so there will be a little bit of space, maybe for one toy or something like that, but that's basically it, I think. Did you bring anything that you can eat or throw away?
Not at all.
No, so that's a problem. It's expensive to bring things over. Even people, also. We should have gone by this boat all the way from Sweden. I would have loved that. Sort of like extends the period of touring for a while, but in a very nice and sunny way.
After a while, you start thinking.
So that was a no, actually. Yeah. We're not going to be playing acoustic stuff on the tour.
At some point, you start thinking maybe we should bring the entire audience over to Sweden instead because it would be cheaper.
We kind of did that though. For the B shows, we kind of did that.
And how many showed up?
Quite a lot actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but we said at that point we should always do touring.
How many showed up during the press conference?
There was no press conference at all.
There wasn't?
No, this is new to us.
I've seen pictures from it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. There was a press conference.
Maybe only Christopher was at it. That might be the case.
Doesn't count. He was in the band at that point. Yes.
Hey, what was the songwriting process like with you guys on this new album? Y'all work together as a band?
It was me and Ragnar. We just like a lot of it was sitting in the rehearsing room, me behind the drums with the guitar on the side, computer, and he with the guitar for the drum kit, and which is kind of nice because that's very much the way I was involved. Like for the first albums, I would sit behind the drums a lot, which probably explains like the return. Like some people say, it's return to the old pain of salvation. I don't know, but I think usually for the albums I've done things so differently for every album. I think out of restlessness and curiosity. So this was in a way the first time I returned to a methodology of writing that I've already been doing for a while. So that was nice, and
I think it was also because we had just done the Remedy Lane thing. So we had the metal thing in our veins.
Yeah,
sort of, as a band.
Yeah.
So it felt natural, I think. And we would record a whole bunch of riffs which we came up with in the rehearsal space, and then we'd have a CD with a lot of tracks with different riffs on it. And we'd pick our favorites and try to put them together.
Yeah.
When you're writing, are you thinking about how this will come across live? I mean, there's obviously a really emotional component to this stuff. Are you?
I can only speak for myself, but no, I don't. I just try to make it something that I want to hear and something that affects me, and then you'll have to deal with the live thing afterwards. And it's a problem because, like, when you, especially when you go to festivals, I tend to like the more, I don't know, when I say intimate, I don't mean that they have to be soft, but, you know, something that sort of burns emotionally. That's what I want to do on stage. And that includes a few very, like, soft songs. And when you play festivals, people always tell you that you shouldn't be playing soft songs. You should only play the sort of, like, stuff that they will understand and like at the get-go, which is not what we're about. We're never about that. So it's difficult. You always try to do that balance of what people want to hear and what you want to play.
So who's telling you that and why you're listening to them, I guess?
Everyone. Not the guys in the band, but like anyone giving advice. And trust me, lots of people want to give advice. I've had lots of advice on this boat. And I'm really glad so many showed up, because I've answered all your questions already so many times on the boat. So yeah, you get a lot of advice and a lot of good feedback too.
What's the best advice, and I guess what's the worst advice you've got?
Always around the boat.
Up to you, whatever you like.
The best advice. The most memorable advice was, I guess we were 16, 17, maybe a little bit older, like not 20, and there was this famous guitar player in Sweden who plays with a lot of big Swedish acts. He's sort of famous. He came to our rehearsal space to give advice, and all the bands could play a few songs, and they would film it, and you look back at it and you go like, I think you should change this, change that. And he was basically just talking about himself a lot, which is fine, because that was interesting. And then when it came to advice, he had two pieces of advice, which has sort of stayed with me. The first one was never tour in Italy. Which is, I like Italy, but after you've toured there a few times, you understand, what he meant. He probably never toured South America though. Because that's like Italy times 2000. But the benefits are so great, like when it comes to the audiences and stuff, and the weather, you don't really mind. But logistics are, I'm not gonna say any word in that sentence. And the second advice, and this is something for all of you to remember when you watch people on stage, or when you're on stage yourself, this is important. This is the essence of music. When you're standing on stage and you want to tap the rhythm while you're playing, you shouldn't do this, because that looks silly, okay? You should do that. Those were the two pieces of advice. Never tour Italy, always tap the tempo with your heel. And he does, I've seen that.
What about the bad advice? The worst advice?
The worst, isn't that sort of like summing both of them up in one go?
You choose.
And most memorable too. So those are probably my favorite pieces of advice ever. Any guys did you have any great advice?
I went to one of his workshops as well, and that was actually the only thing that stuck. Tapping the tempo with your heel. I think about it every show. Every show.
That's the secret of success. If you know any people, you probably have friends that are really talented and they have a band and they never get anywhere. Same. And they haven't toured Italy, so you know what the problem is. All right. Anything that we can give more silly responses to? Yeah.
Two questions.
Two questions.
Can you still do your standing backflip?
I think so. I haven't done it now since August, so I wouldn't want to try without having something soft behind me. Yeah, he asked me so I can still do the standing backflip, flat backflip as we say. Yeah.
The second question is for all of you. What kind of music do you listen to nowadays? What album really kicked your ass in the last
That's
year?
a nice question.
All of Manowar's back catalog for the four of us.
Really?
No.
This guy would die for another.
Yeah, and I think I proved it 2 days ago when I crashed the Curved Air Q&A. By the way, is it possible to get like a cordless mic out there for people to ask their questions in?
Yes, we can get your cordless mic.
That would be great, because I know there is one, because one was handed to me during the Curved Air Q&A, and my only question was...
Someone just made a big mistake, right?
And my question was, are you willing to die for metal? And I can't remember the answer if there was one. But
I think the answer was 5 security guys. You jump in and go, take his gun away!
Makes sense.
Didn't have one. They're Swedish.
I have an answer. The album that took me by storm last year was the Textures album, Phenotype. I got introduced by Leo to this band.
Sorry about that.
And I love that album. Check it out if you haven't.
My favorites for the last year is a great duo from Los Angeles called Nowhere. They play like a very progressive, jazzy, electronic something concoction. I can't really give it a name, but no, not really. It's just fantastic. It's Nowhere, not nowhere, but as in knowing things. Nowhere. The album is called Life. You should check it out. It's awesome. Perfect. You too?
Is the album from last year? Is that?
Just the last year, it doesn't matter.
Did it have to be released that year, or is it just like what we listened to last
It doesn't matter.
year? I'm not into that modern music. You know, it's all for the kids.
I know the last album that touched me. I think it was like this First Aid Kit, a Swedish singer-songwriter. They really moved me. Last album.
And I can say that I honestly have a hard time listening to new music. I'm playing so many gigs all year long, so when I get home it's like I want silence. So if I listen to something, it's always old stuff that I already know, so I've no surprise basically. But I can mention maybe Carnival. You know about the band from Australia? Like them a lot. Textures as well. But yeah, mostly old stuff that I already know, so it's safe, you know, and I can just listen to what I know already and not bother my mind with new information.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I don't really like seek out new music. It has to sort of like stumble across me somehow. And the Parlor Mob, I listened a lot to the Parlor Mob. I think that was a great album. Apart from that, I think I listened a lot to what the kids want to hear in the car. Because we have this like a hard drive thing going, and they just asked me to like, play that. So there's been a lot of All the Fools Sailed Away with Theo, and what's more like some children's music, of course. And they do like 10cc and Queen, which is surprising. So I caught them a few months back. Two songs that they usually sing, like when you don't know, they don't know you're listening. They're gonna be singing Mustafa with Queen, and what's that song with 10cc? Gonna be a big bus of melody. Ruler of the world, something like that maybe. Rule the world. I don't know. Yeah. So, which is great music, so I'm happy, but surprising.
Daniel, is that your son painting you on the cover?
That is my middle son, yeah. And he had such a fun time doing that. Towards the end, there were pictures towards the end when he has finished the entire song, because we sort of like, we made like a rough beginning of it, and said just like, stand and just fill that in, you know, while we take the pictures. And then once we thought that, okay, I could probably have the pictures, so just like, do whatever you want, just finish it off. And he kept going, he made the entire sun, and then he started doing like a face and lots of different stuff. And then there's 2 or 3 pictures towards the end, and he's just turning to the camera, all black, and his entire arms just going. The oldest one is 10, and then Nim, who's on there, he's 7, and then the youngest one is 5 years old. So there's a big span. All of them are guys. There's a lot of energy at home.
What's happening with the video? And
Look at that. Would you die for metal? Come on, do it. The answer is yes.
what's happening with the video, and what will you be doing with the footage that was recorded on the Restoration Scene? Because I know they take the shows.
Oh, they take the show? I don't know. I wasn't there. So.
Actually, those guys here did that, the one filming here right now. But
Yes, that's it.
yeah, I don't think it's going to be anything we're going to release. It's just, you know, for memory, pretty much.
I want to watch it.
Well, you can watch it if you want.
like the only Pain of Salvation show that I wasn't attending. It would be great to see.
So
I have the DVDs at home.
the actual video that you're making, aren't you doing a video? Like a history type video?
Oh, you mean like the documentary thing that's been going? Oh, yeah. I think they already quit at that point, right?
I think we're preparing the second season right now.
Yeah, but I mean, for when you did the promotion season.
They were there.
Oh, they were there.
They were there.
All right.
That was the last thing they did.
Then perhaps you're arriving. Who knows? I can't watch it. I can't hear my voice. It's like I'm just seeing myself, and I hear my voice, and I go like, Jesus Christ, what an annoying guy. Honestly. So sorry, guys, you have to witness this, but you know, I'm being here. It works better when I'm just like the transmitter. You know, I don't have to be on the receiving end. Yes.
Do you have a favorite song to play live?
Favorite song to play live? It sort of shifts for me. I don't know about you guys, but
Well, I hate them all.
they're not metal.
The ABBA medley is really good. I play with a cover
Oh yeah,
band.
the album medley, yeah.
No, but seriously, I don't know. I think it's just like Daniel says, it shifts. For me, I love playing Beyond the Pale because it used to be one of my favorite songs. It still is. Perfect Element is always.
You need to tell them the story about girlfriends. And
Oh yeah,
the payoff.
why not? Well, with my best friend in France, I'm from France by the way, we used to have this test for girls, you know, if we... it's a bit embarrassing too. But that was the thing, if we liked a girl, but you know, you want to know if she's good enough for you, then we would play Beyond the Pale to her, and if she liked the song, then she was a good, you know.
Just keep going.
Yeah. If you didn't like it, alright, sorry, but...
I love that story.
You can try that if you want. Didn't work very well for me, but... Alright.
I still appreciate playing Ashes, I have to say. Like, to me, that always works. Because you can just be in the groove of it. I like being able not to... Like being 100% into the song and the lyric, being on stage. Just feeling true to yourself is something that I want to achieve, like getting into a certain flow. And that song is always good for that. Basically because it's very simple and we've played it 2 billion times. It's a good song to sort of like get you into being all there, all in the music. But then there's always going to be like one new song that you haven't. It was weird playing the new material, I think, on stage, because for some of the old stuff, you know, not that you ever calculated or decided it, but once you're on stage and you're playing it, you sort of like, and then there's this part and you move around, you do that, and you like jump around for that part, and then there's new material, you have no idea how to move. You're like, what's going to do here? I have no idea. Trying headbanging a bit, didn't feel right. Maybe just jump, nah. So there's you need to sort of like break in the new songs a little bit until you can sort of just like let all of that go and appreciate it. But there's a fun thing in that too. So there's yeah, you can enjoy songs in so many ways, I think. Physics of Gridlock, I love playing that, you know. But that's the same thing, you have to play it for a while so you can actually just be on that and wave. Because that song you need to sort of like ride like a wave all the way through. If you sort of like start stopping to think about stuff in the middle of it, it's just a song, you know, you need to be all in.
I actually love to be in the uncertain. And uncertainty, it's my favorite. And to play new songs, and the heavier the better. Like when we played the first song, the last show, Full Throttle Drive.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so heavy that I can like totally lose control and
You went to the
play
floor.
wrong and sing wrong, but I'm just so in the mood. Yeah, fall on the stage.
That's what
Doesn't
you
matter. I get really into the song, into the performance. That's what I love.
You guys do want to stay live?
We're gonna do it tonight, I think. We're still talking. The thing, people are always asking us about the set list, and we're like, well, we do that like between dinner and gig time, if we're lucky. We're doing that. sometimes on stage, sometimes after the show. Yeah, no, so basically we know what songs we want to play and what songs we don't want to play. And then we just have to fill the gaps, or more often than not, remove some stuff that we wanted to play but we just didn't have time with. So that's we were going to play it actually on the first gig, but once we were getting to the end, we were like, we only have 15 minutes. Oh, that's just one song, right? Okay.
Hey, what can you say about the song Reasons? I love the song. It's angry, but how does that relate to your hospital stay, or does it?
Oh, if you're thinking lyrically, the thing is, the storyboard of the concept is not all taking place in the hospital. It's more like you get in that first day in the hospital while they're still struggling to try to find any sort of antibiotics or anything that sort of like can break it. And so you go from there, from that sort of the bed, basically the hospital bed, and to sort of looking at different, I don't know, I can't say sort of any more times now, I think I feel like hold for this entire trip now. You look back at different situations of your life as you would, and as you do in those situations. Sort of, I did it. I said sort of again. Dang it. But anyway, so that's it. The Reasons is more like looking at and tweaking beyond, into the absurd a little bit. What it is to be and having been in a very long relationship when I always like that thing about humanity, like, it's just, I wrote a poem once that is, parts of it are sort of like used for the Perfect Elements album, that mankind reminds me of fire. Because fire is funny that way, that it needs to devour its surroundings to survive. And in doing so, it actually dies from the exact same thing that keeps it alive, right? It devours its surroundings. It's got to die from that. So the sort of like the basis for survival and for perishing are exactly the same. And I think that mankind is sort of like that. Most animals on Earth are not, but we do that. We devour our surroundings. That's how we thrive. That's how we'll die. And I had the same feeling about a long-term relationship. When you go from, did anyone watch 6 Feet Under?
Yes.
Yeah. There's this wonderful episode where this black old man lost his wife, and he's staying there in the funeral home, and they try to sort of like, shouldn't you be leaving? And he's so bitter, he's angry all the time. Because of course that's how he is dealing with loss, because you get that feeling that he's hated his wife all his life, but of course he hasn't. And there's this one point where because they're younger, the guy's running it, of course, the funeral home, and he's sitting down trying to be understanding, and he talks about love, and the old guy goes like, how old are you? And whatever he is, I can't remember, he's like, you're too young, you don't understand what love is. Love is when you crap yourself in the cinemas and your loved one helps you sort it out. And that's something that goes beyond a fling, if you understand what I mean. You wouldn't do that on a first date, probably. You would probably not have a second date at all. And when you're in a long-term relationship, and if you can deal with that, if you can deal with the ups and the downs, then actually the same thing that tears you apart will also be the same thing that pulls you together. So it's the same sort of like, what you thrive at is also what's killing you, or in this situation the other way around. What is actually tearing you apart is also the thing that keeps you strong. If you can survive that, that's a real relationship. And that's what the song is about. Oh yeah. Yeah, and I mean, did I ever come to tears on stage? Was the question. Yeah, that has happened. I am ridiculously scared of crying in public, so I do my best not to. Yeah, that's just, I don't know. I think it's one of the most beautiful things you can do, so I don't know why I find it so hard. But I always try not to. And it's not happened a lot of times, but sometimes you get requests that you basically say no to. I had the question to sing Hallelujah at a funeral. I was like, no, not doing that. It's no way. Because I just know I couldn't deal with it. Singing at funerals at all is just like, I don't know. I remember just being at funerals, not even singing. You're sitting there and you're just like, you're counting everything in the church. You're just like 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't think. It's terrible. And I think what I would want to do is just like ask everyone to leave and I could just be alone in the church for a while, but you can't really do that. I haven't tried though. Have you cried on stage?
Almost a few times actually. But same thing, I mean, sometimes the songs just bring so much emotion, you think about the lyrics, or sometimes not even that, you just drawn into the music for some reason, and well, I got, shiny eyes a little bit. Well, yeah.
Same here. Several times I've almost cried, but I will try not to because it fucks up the ability to sing.
It's not metal, really.
It's like wearing band-aids. We just don't do it.
For me, undertow is a perfect timing for crying, actually. Especially when I'm singing that. It's quite a heavy matter.
It's a good song the way that you can actually go into the screaming part, which sort of like burns the tears away a little bit. So you're choking up and you can just like up the ante a little bit, go to higher gear, and you're fine again. It would be worse the other way around, I think. Like if you worked yourself down. Like I was really scared about performing in the Passing Light of Day, the song, because that's just, it breaks me up a little bit every time I do it, even like just like going through it at home. So I think it was good that it was very windy and we had lots of like dropouts in the internet, lots of things that sort of like make you lose your focus all the time. So you couldn't really build up to that tearful moment where you just go, my voice is really fucked up though from all the salt and I was battling the ocean yesterday in Mexico, and I swallowed so much salt water. I don't think I need any more natrium for the next 2 months or something like that. And I had my contacts in too, which is a wonderful idea. You should try that. Like if you ever consider buying like these colored contacts, you just have to like take a swim for a while and you'll get that all red stuff going, and it spreads beyond the contacts really. It's really impressive. So my voice is really bad. So maybe tonight, if the voice is really not working out, I'm just going to pretend to start crying all the time. That's always a lifesaver. Talk about crying, guys.
To be serious for a moment, I don't think I've ever cried from the actual song or anything, but it does choke me up big time when I look into the audience and I see people crying, see people being moved. That is probably the one thing that makes all of this worthwhile, to see that you've actually affected someone. And that's something that money can't buy. And wow,
there's pepper spray. You can buy that.
That's true. But they don't have like that long range.
That's true. You have to work on that.
But that is something that I'm deeply grateful for, to be able to actually move and become a part of people's life in a very beautiful way. Oh, thank
you. You too, you're not getting away.
Yeah, well, I agree with Gustav, but that's, when you're standing on stage, you're into the song, and you see all of your people, it's the best feeling in the world, so you don't know what's gonna happen, if you're gonna cry or laugh or jump around. Anything can happen, and that's really a good feeling.
I remember this one time there was this like 6 or 7 rows down from the first row in the audience. There was this huge biking guy. It was like he'd be fit for I don't know what kind of motorcycle club he was in, but he looked scary, like really scary. Big and like you can be big but look nice and sort of like a big teddy bear. He didn't. He just had his like tattoos everywhere. He looked like the guy who had probably not even cried when he killed his mom. And he was standing there, and then in the end of one of the songs, he just like, the tears were just flowing, and he just stood there and cried his eyes out. Probably one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. It was just awesome. And I can only agree, I think anything, you don't have to cry, but as soon as you get sort of a ticket that what you've done has changed people or helped people, then that is worth everything. It makes you go that extra mile another time. So I can only be so thankful for that.
February of 2014, when you were thinking of coming to
Yeah, the video thing.
Resignation at Sea.
Yeah.
You didn't get out of the hospital till April, didn't you?
Sorry?
You didn't get out of the hospital till April after that?
Yeah, exactly.
You weren't in perfect shape or anything in February.
No, I still had a big hole in my back.
On tour like that.
That actually, the silly thing is, at first they tried to sort of like sort it out. I think I had 6 or 7 different types of antibiotics in my system the first day. They were just like pumping me full of these different things, trying to find something that worked. And it went so far as to the head doctor. I said that in a few interviews. I don't know if you've read any of them, but you're sort of like not in a good place when you notice that you're working your way up the food chain of doctors. Like they're all smiling and they're like, that guy has a much, much bigger salary than the last guy. That's not a good sign, is it? And at some point, we were trying to give up. I was in such pain, I didn't care. I was just like, just take me away, do whatever you want. But I couldn't be bothered about anything really. I was just like lying there. And at some point he came in, and all of these things were going through my head that you can find on the album. And then that guy came in and he said that we're going to give you the antibiotic equivalent of the A-bomb. That's a quote. I'm not kidding. He said that. And we were like, that sounds good. This is top shelf material. We're going to open up the big bottle, the top shelf. This will take out anything. And he was so, I don't know, they'd all been sort of like very convincing and positive all the time, but this was the first guy I really trusted. I thought, yeah, it's the A-bomb, man. It's gonna be good. Go on, I'm gonna be up here and, it didn't work out. A-bombs are not that such a sufficient of a solution in so many ways. Isn't that correct? They came to the point where they had to open me up. Like in the middle of the night, this female surgeon came in and she was like, okay, so this is the thing, we can't keep doing this. We need to open you up and have a go at this really quickly. And I was like, okay, so you mean like in the morning? No, I mean now. There's a table just standing there, a team is waiting, we need to go now. I'm like, okay, will they put me under? Yeah, of course. God. It's all I was bothered about. It's like, not will I survive? Will I be able to walk again? I don't mind. Just put me under. That's all I ask right now. And what I'm getting at is that when I woke up the next day, like in the morning, after surgery, and I had this huge hole in my back, and it was like this huge way up underneath my skin too, because they sort of like had to get in, take that chunk away, and then dig up all the way under my back here. And already at that point I was like cruise thing. So I'm like, because I heard that they talked about, to make the healing faster, they could put in like a vacuum pump inside the wound, which would help out, and you'd have this sort of like a machine that you'd carry around, and I was like, so, I was still in the hospital bed saying this. They were still sort of happy that I made it through and everything was good, and I'm like, so, but with this vacuum pump, like maybe if you put plastic, like if you put a lot of plastic around it, and maybe you could like teach one of the guys in the band how to check. Do you think I could be still on the cruise? They're like, let's just take it one day at a time. Like fast forward 4 months, I'm finally getting out of the hospital. I can hardly walk at all, and they call it like a miraculous bounce back. And I'm like, they knew so well. They must have gone like, oh Jesus Christ, what an idiot. Maybe it's better if we don't take all the hope away from him. It might help the healing process, just give him a little, maybe we'll take it one day at a time, honey.
How much weight did you lose, and did you gain it all back?
The thing is, it's hard because I had a very stressy December before that, which might have been sort of like also helping the bacteria get a grip. I don't know, but I think I lost 5 or 10 kilos in December already, before this. And I lost some more. I was down on my teenage weight for a while, actually. I think it was 60.5 kilos, like that. Which is not a lot when you're 190, which is the metric system, by the way. Check it out. But I haven't gained all back. I don't want to gain it all back. But I'm in a better shape than ever. I was in a better shape than ever last year. I'm still sort of like I have a little bit left from last year. So. Sure.
Since your lyrics are so personal, you tell a lot of personal stories about their lives.
Sorry, at the beginning of it.
Since your lyrics are so personal, you can tell personal stories of their own.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Which is a blessing and a curse, I guess. I mean, it's very, it's nice to get that trust. I can get these huge, very, very long emails or messages or, any sort of like social feedback with very, very long and intimate details, and it can be people who wants to kill themselves and they need advice, and that's shaky. Well, I'm not a stranger. This is like, it feels like you're holding someone else's life in your hands, and I'm a musician. It's just, you have to be careful with that. And sometimes you just want to like turn all incoming off forever. Just go like, I can't handle this. But yeah, they do.
It's kind of a weird question, but
We love weird questions. That's fine.
yeah. So when you're writing in a language that's not your native language, do you ever kind of want to write in your native language, or is there ever like an urge to do that?
No, I've tried it a few times. It just feels really weird. I think it has to do with, like, we live in Sweden. I understand it's a different thing when you're actually a native English speaker. But most of the music, the movies, and everything you get exposed to artistically when you're a kid is actually in English. So when I write lyrics, I don't feel like I'm like shifting language into something different. I almost feel that if I'm trying to write in Swedish, I feel like I'm always, almost like I'm thinking in English and I have to sort of like translate it into Swedish back again. So I don't know, it became the default lyrical language somehow, which I think is nice. I do appreciate the fact that English is one of the most destroyed languages of all time, because it's been the only language so far that has survived 300 years of oppression. I think that says something, and it's so like influenced by so many different other languages. It really does deserve to be the international language in my world. So I like language a lot. Now you have to ask the guy something, or they're just going to tell me that I was the only one talking afterwards. We're all the time. We just want to play one final song, 15 and a half minutes.
One last question, please.
Someone was asking me to do that. The thing is, we have 60 minutes. So like pushing a cover in there will be, I don't know about you guys, I wouldn't mind doing it, but I do mind like taking away one or two songs from our own. That's the hard part. I said that I would be more happy to do it during the following tour that we're gonna do. So yeah, right now we're leaning towards no. Sorry? On the tour, yeah, that's much more likely.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think Estella has one last question as well.
I was already answered. I was going to ask him about the passing light of day. How did you feel like personally playing on the last show? Because I know it was the first time you played live. You all were reversing in the previous week, but you already answered.
I enjoyed it more like when we were in the rehearsing space and you could just like sit and you could go all into it. Once you were doing it on stage, you had much more to think about, and so I still loved it though. I mean, it's probably, right now it's a new song, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna end up on the like top 5 list of my favorite installation songs.
Because I was one of those who was crying. Trying not to cry, but I couldn't.
Yeah, we can see a lot of people crying actually, which was nice. Could be the wind though. Like, lots of wind and people.
Sorry about this. Eilargard's Q&A is coming up right now, so maybe we should ask the first question. Are you here? Eilargard, are you here? Yeah. Oh, thank you. Are you willing to die for metal?
It was rain yesterday.
That's the kind of answer I like.
Thanks everyone very much. Thanks.